That's because they don't, they're not allowed. When I was working for a currency trading company back in '93, and that was before Windows existed, I was not allowed to invest my own money.
Right.
And
they didn't want you psychologically attached to your job.
Because then you have, you're not objective anymore. You hope that the pound will go up. You pray that the Swiss goes down, or whatever the case might be. So in the case where it's not your money, you're very objective. You see the indicators. You see I'm buying or selling at this point. I'm doing this. I'm exiting here. I'm managing that money, and there's no emotions.
Yeah, and that's the key. So I know that when I go to Vegas, I usually lose. And I have a great time, and I keep going because I enjoy Vegas, and I enjoy to play blackjack for a few hours and then go to a beautiful dinner and go see a great show. But I just don't win at Vegas because there's a psychological mindset that somehow I programmed myself in early in the gambling respect, and I don't see gambling as a winning proposition. Do you see Forex differently, and can it be different?
Well, I'm going to tell you immediately, I don't gamble in Vegas at all.
I
never ever look at a table. I did it before, I got it, and I never do it again because
you lost.
I actually, and I'm not a gambler. I like it. I don't know. I mean, we can look at definition. I like to win. I don't like to lose. In Vegas, you lose.
That's right.
And it's mostly because the odds are against you. That's why they are making a killing. Obviously, when you see, the Caesar's Palace, well, that palace was paid
every day
by those people who lost all that money. So when I look at a trading system, I really see the mechanics of how it works. Another advantage I actually want to clarify here with the stock market is a stock can go and multiply 100, 200, 400 times, or it can crash. The currency never crashes. I never...
I wouldn't say never. Maybe not the ones you're trading.
Okay. The Zimbabwe dollar.
The Argentinian peso.
Exactly. But we only trade the major currency, which are the pound, the Swiss, the yen, the euro, and eventually also the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar. So currencies that are not going to crash.
You didn't mention the U.S. dollar in there. Can we talk about the U.S. dollar? What are you feeling? Well, I do want because we are, most of the people watching this are going to be invested, earning, living in dollars, and there's some real serious things going on out there right now around dollars. And as a forex trader, you're clearly got a mindset around that. What do you see for the future of the dollar?
Okay. Well, the dollar first, I didn't mention it because it's the base. When we say the euro, the Swiss, we mean the euro dollar, the dollar Swiss, the pound with the dollars. It's always a combination of two currencies. In a general, of course, long-term look, and funny enough, this is not my specialty. I trade on a 30-minute candle or bar, or maybe a day bar. I don't really go in the future that's more an economist look.
So by the end of the day, your trade's all wrapped up, you sleep, nothing is outstanding.
That's not true. That depends on the system I use. When I trade live, yes. Live meaning I do my own trade coming in. But when I have a system, that system may have many trades going on, and because again it's a 24-hour market, it never sleeps except on the weekend. But as I look those charts every day, and the economy being what it is in America, stocks, you study the equity, and it determines your decision whether you're going to buy or sell. Currency, you study the country, and will determine. Now, how is America will tell you how you feel about the dollar. And obviously, I would rather own myself euro, yen, Swiss franc right now than I would dollar.
Okay. Do you have any feelings on the long-term outlook for the dollar? I mean, I've heard many people, including David Walker, who is the head of the GAO, the Government Accounting Office, during Bush, and he actually quit in protest, went on what he called a fiscal wake-up tour, toured all around the United States to colleges like Berkeley, and basically said, with a panel of about a dozen other very well recognized economists, and basically made the case that the United States is bankrupt right now, truly bankrupt. We've run out of credit. The Chinese are only keeping us propped up in their self-interest, and that
because they own a lot of dollars.
Because they own a lot of dollars.
That's right.
And that ultimately there's only one way out of this scenario. That there's not a second way out. Well, which is radical change in the fundamental running of the government, and if not, an ultimate crash in the currency, a la Argentina. I'm talking a 10-time devaluation. How do you react to that?
Well, right now you see a lot of, for example, in the petrol industry, they would rather be paid in euro now.
Sure.
You know, and that's not going to help the dollar, obviously.
Right.
Again, I'm not an economist. I can't really forecast in that perspective. What I can tell you is that it will help me make a lot of money, because what we need in forex is volatility.
Volatility, okay.
You know, and that will definitely be volatile. So hey, sell dollar versus the other. You know, we can look at the dollar index, which is based on a basket of currencies against the dollar, and you will see, like any other stock or indicator or graph, where it's going, and you go along with it.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. But in what we do, we don't really care.
Right.
You know, all we care is movement, and the you know, currencies, because they are paired, like the US dollar or the dollar Swiss. That's the reason they never crash completely, because there's always a buying and a selling of either one. So it's a big graph. And when you have a big cycle, and when you have a cycle like a wave, there's a lot of things you can do, and a lot of system inventors are taking advantage. For example, on the Euro Swiss.
Right.
The Euro and the Swiss franc actually have the same kind of fundamentals,
right? Because
then the same area of the world.
It's one and the same.
You know, but they have a little different. So the Euro Swiss itself, which is a currency you can trade, will have a high and a low that is not that far apart.
Right.
So they are going to cycle in that range that's pretty easy to manage.
Right.
Well, a lot of systems are created with the Euro Swiss, where the dollar has nothing to do with it, by the way.
Sure.
It's not even in there.
Right.
And you can play in that, and buying and selling many times, and being relatively safe.
It's very interesting. I'm very interested in fundamentally the globalization, and that word is way overused, but the globalization for me really means that the connectivity of the world. We are connected in a way that we've never been, ever. Yeah, and it's only getting deeper, more clear. We are tied together, and currencies are, I mean, look at what happened in Europe. We had 25 different currencies. We now have the euro. And what that's done for Europe as a fundamental block, the power that's created. Ultimately, do you see more of that? Do you see more merging of currencies, bigger blocks being created, or ultimately a global currency?
You know, that's a really question, and people ask me very often, what about the pound? You know, the pound is there, and you're in Europe, and the pound is still, and it's the most traded currency.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And it's also very volatile. So it's one of the favorites of the currency trader as a one item, as a one currency pair is the USD.
The pound euro, the pound Swiss, the pound dollar.
Well, they're all being traded, but the pound is one of the favorite and has more volatility than the others.
Okay.
So and that's why it's so will it go away? Well, no, knowing the English people as I know them, I struggle it down.
Probably not.
You know, they still drive on the left.
Nothing time soon.